Hello, and welcome to my constellation presentation on Orion the Hunter. My name is Evan Oswald, and I chose this particular constellation because it was one of the first constellations I learned about in middle school, and I've loved identifying it at night ever since. Orion is a winter constellation, meaning it is most visible in the winter months. With that in mind, you'll want to find it on a winter night. The date I chose, for example, was February 4th. So in early February, you want to go out at about 11:15 p.m. and locate Sirius, which is circled here in orange, between the southern and southwestern cardinal points on the horizon. And from there, you want to look to the right to locate the three stars of Orion's belt. And they should be close to right above the southwestern cardinal point. You want to view Orion as if he were facing you. So here is his right shoulder, right knee, and left knee. The outline traced should be that of a warrior-like figure, with his right arm wielding a weapon, which is usually a club or a sword, and his left arm holding out a shield. Also, the stars circled in bright blue outline Orion's dagger hanging from his belt. Here we have a look at some of the brightest stars within Orion. We see Rigel, or Beta Orionis, in the lower right corner with a magnitude of 0.18 at 773 light-years away. This is the brightest naked eye star within Orion, and it is classified as a blue supergiant. For Alpha Orionis, we have Betelgeuse, which is a red supergiant with a 4.3 magnitude. It is 428 light-years away. In the upper right corner is Bellatrix, also known as Gamma Orionis, which is the closest of Orion's brightest stars, or at least the four brightest stars, at 243 light-years away. And at the middle of Orion's belt lies Alnilam, or Epsilon Orionis, which has a magnitude of 1.69 and a distance of 1,342 light-years. Next, we'll take a look at some of the deep space objects in Orion. First, we have Sharpless 276, also known as Barnard's Loop, and if you look at the picture here, you can clearly see the loop figure. It is classified as a bright nebula and is located next to Orion's right hip. In comparison to the stars and objects within the constellation, Barnard's Loop is quite large. Another deep space object is the Horsehead Nebula, which is also a bright nebula. As you can see, it resembles a horsehead, or as I view it, more of a seahorse, with the nose here, the head, and the body down here. There's also NGC 1975, which is a bright nebula, and it was named for the year it was discovered. And then we come to M42, the Orion Nebula, which I feel is the most beautiful of the deep space objects, which is also classified as a bright nebula. And it's down at the bottom of his dagger in the blue circle. Finally, we will look into the mythology of Orion and see what his legend is known for. To summarize from GreekMythology.com, Orion was born the son of the Greek god Poseidon, which gave him the ability to walk on water. He was also a giant. He was hired by the king Onepion because he wanted all of the beasts on his island to be killed and taken care of. Orion was able to accomplish this, but soon after he sexually assaulted Onepion's daughter, Merope. Orion, having done this, was blinded by Onepion and exiled from the island. So hoping to regain his sight, Orion went to the god Hephaestus and his servant Sidalion, and they took him there to the east to find the sun god Helios, who was able to restore his sight. After that, Orion joined Artemis as a hunter on the island of Crete, where he hunted with her until his death. And there's actually two variations of his death that I'd like to tell you about, and I feel that I should tell you about both of them because They're both very popular, and although I think the first version is a little more popular, I enjoy the second one a little more. So the first variation of his death is that Orion, while hunting with Artemis on Crete, was so boastful that he said he was going to kill all of the beasts on the earth. And Gaia, the goddess of earth, heard this, and so she sent a giant scorpion who was big enough to kill Orion, and the scorpion succeeded in killing him. So Artemis and her brother Apollo went to Zeus, the king of the gods, and asked that they put their friend among the stars in the sky. And so Zeus cast Apollo into the stars as a constellation, and he also put the scorpion in the sky to chase him. The other version of Orion's death came about from a competition between Artemis and Apollo. They were both great hunters, and as brother and sister, they were very close. So Apollo feared that Orion was going to sexually assault Artemis. So one day, while Orion was out swimming in the ocean, he was swimming with only his head above the water, and he was quite far out. And Artemis and Apollo stood atop a mountain, and they were looking for a competition. So Apollo challenged Artemis to shoot at the target out in the ocean, which was Orion's head. Accepting the challenge, she fired the arrow that ultimately killed Orion without her knowing. Here's a look at my sources cited. I do have 3 questions before I leave you today. The first being, what is the name of the blue supergiant in Orion's left knee? The second question is, what star should you locate first to find Orion's belt? And lastly, what Greek god was Orion the son of? I hope you learned a lot about Orion the Hunter today. I also hope you had a little fun too. Email me with your 3 answers at eoswald@midmich.edu. And in the words of the great Ron Burgundy, stay classy, Astronomy 101.